Okay. That's third secret area. Oh my! Fuck this! I'm done. I'm done for today, guys. I can't do this. Is horse shit. I've had enough. I've had enough. Seriously, I'm done. We'll resume next time. That's enough for me. That stage is ridiculous. Look at this. Look at this glitch. That stage is ridiculously stupid. It's just made that you can't do normal platforming because it's so wonky and shit. Fuck that. So when we play next time, I'll be starting up with stage 13 again, but that pisses me off. I'm done for today. Enough is enough. Alright, guys. Alright, so that is it.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with, well, actually, sorry, it's been rather busy and everything's been running kind of consistently, so I didn't feel so obligated to actually say anything. As you guys may or may not know, we're at day 3 of opening, so go ahead and shuffle yourselves into line. Go ahead, get your drinks of choice. With that being said, let me kind of expand on the variety that we have here. In the fact that it's not just coffee. You can get coffee, get cappuccino, you can get a latte, you can get tea, you can get hot chocolate, you can get milkshakes, smoothies, you can get boba, or boba tea. If you don't know what that is, that's a Vietnamese tea. It's delicious. It comes in a multitude of flavors, just about anything you could ever want. It's amazing. Check that out. And then obviously you guys know what kind of food that we serve here, so it is what it is. As like any business that just starts opening up, there will be some hang-ups, but hey, you know, you can't make bacon strips unless you're cutting something off somebody's back. So with that being said, while you guys are in line going ahead and placing your orders, I can go ahead and tell you what we're getting into today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. Oh yeah. Forced wedding. Oh boy. And debunking disease scheduling. E-begging for money is an honest job. Oh shit. There's a lot to unpack. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so the forced wedding. Let's start with that, because that should be fun. I feel like that right there is obligated to me in some way, shape, or form. Oh boy, that should be amazing. Alright, so forced wedding. The only reason this wedding would be forced if A, Kat's pregnant, B, an ultimatum from Mama Burnell that if he doesn't get married, she would cut him off from financial obligations. Well, cut herself from helping Phil with his financial obligations. Or C, I mean, there's no C. It has to. It would theoretically be one of the two. I'm sure there's always a third option, but those are the two things that come to mind. Either Kat's already pregnant, and Phil ran to Mommy Burnell and was like, "Hey, like Dad, my pull-out game wasn't strong enough. What do I do?" And she told him what he needed to do. Or B, if he's gonna keep funneling money and you're gonna keep moving these strange girls with you across country, you're gonna have to at least marry one of them. That should be interesting. Debunking the disease scheduling. Okay, so that right there is actually something I've been hinting at for a little while now. If you guys go back, back in 2015-ish, something along these lines, Wings of Redemption had kind of started his own version of PKA. That he really didn't, but he's starting a new podcast. It was him, Jive Turkey, a guy named, I think the guy's name is Eddie, and White Boy 7th Street. And they asked if DSP would come on to their podcast. And I think DSP initially said he would, and then it was just a matter of the scheduling aspect. To make a long story short, Phil shitted on them and just was like, no, I'm not. He basically left them out in the cold. And as far as I know, because I didn't actually watch that podcast, they were basically, the members basically went around and were like, all right, whatever, you don't want to show up, you don't want to show up, and that was the end of it. Well, White Boy 7th Street had came out recently and had basically commented on Phil being a bitch, because Phil is a bitch, because Phil acts like a bitch, and talked about the situation with the podcast and how Phil gave them this absurd excuse on why he couldn't show up. That should be entertaining. So that's kind of what that's about. So we'll look into that. And e-begging for money is an honest job, ladies and gentlemen. Do I need to tell you anything about that? No, I don't. And yes, I may have had a tad bit too much caramel in my mocha, okay? And it's very possible, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and switch scenes. Jesus Christ. Begging for money is an honest job. What are you doing, Phil? Oh my God, what are you doing? Okay, so how do we approach this, to be honest? Begging is an honest job. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen homeless people on the street. I've seen homeless people in shelters. I've seen people as low as they could feel in life. And none of them have ever felt any sense of pride for begging. Even in your worst possible moment in life, you know what I'm saying? Begging should never be considered one of those things. Now, the argument has been made that if you were in a position where you had to beg for your life, would you do it? I could see you doing that for your parents' life. I could see that you doing that for your children's life, for your wife's. Your own, I guess that depends on you. I guess that depends on the acceptance of the end, depending on how you meet that. So that is what it is. But if it's for your children, for example, a family member, that's understandable. Now obviously that's at the extreme, right? That's at the extreme end of the spectrum. We are talking about a 37-year-old man who has a degree, which is utterly worthless, but he has a degree, right? He has a degree. Who still can function with all of his arms and legs for the most part. He can put a suit and tie on. I'd like to think he can bathe. And he can clean up, at least on his days off, when he goes out and spends time with Kat or Catherine. There is nothing keeping him from getting an honest job. There's no reason that he can't have an honest living. And I wouldn't say what he does isn't honest if he wasn't begging for money all day. He somehow has parlayed that into, in his words, and it's very silly to say this, a career. And there's something very, very wrong with that. There's something very, very wrong with a person who probably doesn't even shower every day, having the nerve to ask people for money to continue to keep up his lifestyle, right? To keep up his lifestyle, and is not willing to go out and get a job. And be proud of not having a job. Being proud of not having to work a 9 to 5, and is okay with asking children, asking widows, asking the disabled for money. This is what he's okay with. This is what he's proud of when he's really talking about e-begging. And for anyone to find any source of pride in that is disturbing. It's disturbing. In a day and age where it's getting harder and harder to find people that will contribute just their time to you, let alone be willing to shell out hundreds of dollars to you monthly, which turns into thousands of dollars yearly, you would have the nerve to come out your face and say, I am proud to be an e-beggar. Yikes. Very interesting way of looking at it. Ladies and gentlemen, food's about to come out. So our little bit of an intermission there is now over. You guys know how this works. And we're going to go ahead and get into the video proper. Stop, man. Like, what is wrong with this guy? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG network and production. You guys all know the slogan. since the coffee has already been made, or whatever, or the tea, or whatever your drink of choice is. Now that all of your orders have been fulfilled from a beverage standpoint, okay? It's time for me to go and cut some bacon off this guy's back. It's time to watch me work. Jesus Christ. Begging and being proud of it. So that's scary thinking.
This is how to play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
One can hope. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. Forced wedding, debunking disease scheduling, and e-begging for money is an honest job. Oh. Had a little bit of bacon grease go ahead and land on my jacket because I was an idiot. Shouldn't have been in the kitchen wearing my jacket or whatnot. Now I got to send it to the DIA, and hopefully that's tax deductible. And Jesus Christ. All right, let's go.
And Philip Smelly Chair said, have you fed cat today and given fresh water? Have I fed my wife cat today and given fresh water? Har har har, hilarious. She's at work right now, and yes, she's been fed. She can feed it herself. And thanks for insulting my wife. I really appreciate it.
Obviously.
Indeed, sweetie. Indeed. I don't know why he took such offense to that. That seems a bit out of the ordinary. He should have been able to brush that off. He normally would. Our piggy seems cranky today. Spicy bacon for everybody then. Someone passes sriracha.
People just don't understand what's like funny and what's like lame and annoying. Like calling my wife a cat and acting like I feed her like a pet is not fucking funny at all.
You call her cat though. So what? Whether it's with a K or with a C, you still call her cat, bruh. You could call her Catherine. That is her real name, by the way. We could do that. Would you like me to do that for you, Phil? Moving forward? Would you just like me to refer to cat as Catherine? I can do that for you. I don't have a problem with that. Defiant sniff.
Har har.
I am Hot Dog. Give me $1 and says, why do you make these long convoluted stories about Cat not streaming? Oh my god, here we go. You demanded her not stream. Let's face it, she can't do anything without you saying so. That's right. As you know, I'm an incredibly controlling adult, and I absolutely tell her what to do at every waking notice. Right now, I've got her tied up in a closet over here in the house while I stream because I don't like it if she disturbs me. You're a fucking weirdo idiot. You are dumbass. Lil Pump tipped me $1.01.
Well, Jim does say she likes being tied up in unique ways. They have a word for that in Japanese, but I don't actually know what it is. Whatever. Now, Phil, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. This is the same idiot who said that he had a girlfriend, right? He had a girlfriend. And she had no public persona whatsoever. Nothing could be found on her. She didn't exist. When in actuality, she was hiding in plain sight. She had a Twitter. She has a Twitch, she has a YouTube, and I think she has an Instagram. And she abandoned all of that. Now, I want you guys to think about that for just a second. We have an individual who had a bit of a following on all of her platforms respectfully before meeting our walking ham hock right here. And all of a sudden, there is a conversation about OBS crashing. That was their only public discussion that we know of before him sliding into her DMs. And then she abandons everything. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go ahead and present to you guys two sides of this particular situation that is not good for either party. You ready? Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, first part of it is on Cat's end. What kind of position were you in that you were so desperate to move in with this idiot that you were willing to give up everything that you have built, no matter how big or how small it was, of a media presence that you had for him. Like, what kind of trouble were you in? Like, I mean, I understand people make their jokes about Superman and so on and so forth, but from what people have seen and the few people who have interacted with him, he seems like a pretty nice guy. Now, granted, no one really knows him, or at least not to any particular degree, so that's neither here nor there. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything to let me think or would give me inkling that he was abusive in any type of way, shape, or form. Just saying. Now, granted, I'm not in there. I wasn't in their lives when they were together. I don't know. While she was texting Phil, I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't have any idea whatsoever. Now, let's talk about the other lines of that spectrum. For Phil's sake, for you to seal the deal with this chick, not only for her to come in under your roof, to clean your house, to wash your bed sheets, to cook your meals, you requested her to drop everything that she had just so she can come live with you. So what kind of leverage does Phil have on Catherine? Or how bad a shape was Catherine in that she was willing to give all that up to move in with Phil? You kind of see where there's a bit of a discrepancy here. And especially since Phil was the one who came out and lied about all these things. He could have just came out and not said anything. That's what he should have done. But then again, that's one of the great things, and I use great loosely, but still, it was a pretty exciting time. This was one of the great things that came out of the escort saga, because he basically had no choice but to expose her, because that was the only way to keep what was her name? That was the only way to keep Kimberly basically at bay. He had no choice. So the escort saga really basically pressed his hoof, and he was forced to show his hand. At the same time, when you look at the backdrop of it all, you must be a pretty shitty individual to request your significant other to drop everything that she had to move in with you. And then on her end of the spectrum, what the hell is she hiding that she was willing to give all of that up to move in with you? It doesn't sound too much like a win-win on either side of the spectrum. I'm just throwing it out there. So when people say that you forced her offline, yeah, they're kind of right. And then, ladies and gentlemen, if we go ahead and jump into this a little bit more, if we dig a little deeper, if you will, when the conversation came up about, oh, well, maybe she might want to stream, or maybe she wants to do something for YouTube, he said it with the absolution that his word was going to be law. She couldn't stream, because there's no way that both of us can stream on the same line, and then, I got to stream for a living, so that can't happen. Maybe she can do YouTube videos, but I don't know how we feel. I don't know how I feel about that, this, that, and the third. I mean, she could just go ahead and appear on my content every once in a while. He did everything he could to deter people from trying to basically search her out, right? Or to weed her out. And then when we found out, he basically gave us all the excuses in the world why she couldn't do anything on her own. Then he tried to, absorb her into his own content and botched it completely. You could see why people think the way they think. But just my opinion, of course. DSP News.
This is how is people making fun of my medical issues different from me making fun of people's gender identity? It's different because I don't do that.
Fuck you. You're a liar.
Just because I make observational comedy about how people get all uppity about gender identity in video games when it really doesn't fucking matter, and it's the most ridiculous, first world superfluous thing to make fun of at all in a video game and complain about, especially in a game review.
If it doesn't matter, I mean, you balding doesn't really matter. It was going to happen to you anyway. You going blind doesn't matter. It was going to happen to you anyway, since you're an idiot and don't want to wear your glasses. You're this whatever you want to call it that's on your chinny chin chin. It's patching up. No big deal, right, Phil? You could just shave it off. No big, nothing to worry about. But yet you cry about all these little things that don't mean shit to anybody but you. That's why you had to go and run to mommy and say, hey, Mom, is it okay if I keep this? You like it, right? It looks good, right? And what did mommy do? Loving sniff, and then was like, sure, honey, no problem. If that's what you like, then so be it. What about you, Kat? You like me with this, right? And she just looked at you like she looked at you and looked right through you, and she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And you were like, and then you gave the thumb, and it was like, see, my wife loves it, so I'm going to keep it. But yet, when it comes to something else, though, oh, it's no big deal. You guys are taking it too far out of conclusion, so on and so forth. You guys are a bunch of sensitive ninnies, this, that, and the third. But then when people shit on his gameplay, or on his streams, or on his content, his work of art, if you will, we get all uppity and crying about that shit, too.
What game media does a lot, and I was parodying when I said things like that. See, basically, the bottom line is I don't make fun of gender identity, but you're too stupid to understand that I'm doing sarcasm and or parody. So you don't get it, and you think I actually am making fun of it because you're stupid. So I can't help that you're stupid, and you don't understand intelligent, like, conversation and intelligent commentary on something and criticism. So sorry that you're stupid.
Why am I toxic? More toxic, more toxic. Oh my god, I'm toxic. I'm fucked. I'm dead.
X-Plant to be $1 and said, I don't think it's fair to call someone stupid if they find a joke you said funny. If they don't find a joke you said funny. Oops, I thought it was a person. Everyone has a different sense of humor, so you shouldn't insult that other guy for expressing his opinion. No one, I wasn't even aware that that's what it was. See, you don't understand.
Whoa, what? Holy shit, man. The fucking dementia is setting in fast. Or Alzheimer's. So, you said that this guy's stupid because he couldn't see that you were making a joke. A parody, if you will. An observation. This guy's an idiot. He's an idiot for thinking that it was anything more than what you meant it to be, despite the fact that you didn't convey it in a way that didn't come across as anything more as offensive, which is usually what you do. Now all of a sudden, oh, I didn't understand the situation. Oh, I didn't get it. God damn, your mother had to hold you by the hoof for everything?
He's not saying your joke's not funny. He's saying you didn't make a joke. You're actually insulting someone's gender identity, which I never did.
But your joke isn't funny. I doubt it was actually even a joke, to be honest. Actually, you can't even say it's a joke, because didn't you say it was an observation? You can go ahead and tack comedy on the end of that if you want, but what do you know about being funny? Okay, I'm just nitpicking. Let's let him finish.
Alright, I'll give you an example. When I was playing a game a few months ago, I think it was the Neo 2 demo, alright? There was male and female to make your character. And I made a joke on Twitter, oh my god, only 2 genders in this game. How ridiculous, robble, robble, robble. Now that's a reference to the fact that in recent years...
Are you the Hamburglar? I mean, maybe if we gave you the mask and it was black, despite the fact we know what you feel about those people. Anyway, if we gave you the mask, maybe... And I guess if we put a stupid hat on your head besides the cowboy hat, possibly... You are kind of pale, so I guess if we just add another stripe to you... Huh. He might be the Hamburglar. No wonder he caught gout.
Game journalists in general have actually reviewed games poorly and or complained about games not having enough gender identities at the creation screen of said game. It's not that I actually care about it. I don't care if the game has 1 gender, 20 genders. I don't give a shit. For me, I'm probably almost always going to pick a guy anyway. That's just how I am. That's what I've always done. But I was basically...
I guess you don't want to live the inner bitch in you, huh? No problem, Phil. I got you.
Doing criticism of the gaming media and or someone who would be so extreme to think that this is like a major issue that we have to really be complaining about this in a beta in 2011, okay? But some idiots actually, oh, see, Phil's actually saying that it doesn't matter that there's gender identity and blah, blah, blah. No! That's you and your own erroneous, very, very stupid and immature interpretation of what I said.
I did nothing.
Now, here's the thing. One, he didn't make a joke. He was making a criticism. He just said that. With that being said, it's obvious he did that for attention. So, how are you going to be mad that other people were offended by something that you purposely wanted to be offensive? How does that necessarily make sense? He's saying that I wasn't trying to be offensive to people who, you know, who dabble in that sphere when it comes to gender and so on and so forth. He was making fun of or criticizing the game writers and so on and so forth who make that a big deal. And what made him think he wasn't going to get slapped for that? Like, how many times do you have to try and fail, and I mean actually fail, until you come to the point where maybe I shouldn't try to do that anymore because that's not my strong point. Maybe I should back the fuck up off of that. If I can't steal somebody else's joke, right? Because you know what that's like, Phil. You're like the Carlos Mencia of fucking gaming and shit. If you can't do that, then maybe you should just fall back and leave it alone, or pick a much better spot, something that isn't sensitive. And he knew it was sensitive because he was tired of seeing all these game writers talk about it. I'm just saying, like, him trying to hide behind one thing and then twisting the narrative in the next minute is hypocrisy at its fullest. God damn it.
Wrong. I did everything correct.
Putting words in my mouth that I never said. And basically, you're an idiot if you think that, because all you're trying to do is prove your own agenda, and you're looking for something that's not there. Okay? So it's not the guy didn't get my joke, or he thought that my joke wasn't funny. He's just an idiot. He's trying to make me look bad, because this is what people do constantly, is make me look bad for shit that I didn't say or do, because they think it's funny, or they get their jollies by making me look like a villain. So
now, this right here is where the paranoia comes from. Where you really, truly believe that everybody around you is out to get you. This is what paranoia looks like, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it looks like, in its purest form. This is what happens when you live, well, once you've spent the last 10 plus years on the internet and only leave your house once a day. When the only interaction that you have is with a bunch of faceless people, right? Who you believe like you, or who believe care about you, and I'd say 60-70% of them are trolls. This is what this looks like. This is someone, right, who sits there and reads Twitter for about an hour, runs over there to Kiwi Farms for about 2.5 hours, gets his gin in him, and then shows up on stream and basically tries to seem like he's the big man to a bunch of kids. Basically. Whether they're physically kids or whether they're mentally kids. That's what this provides. That's what this is. And has the nerve to say that he's successful. Has the nerve to say that he would be looked at as someone respectable, and his opinion would mean something if it wasn't for all these trolls and critics out here, you know what I'm saying, taking his words, twisting his words up. That's what this idiot really thinks. The pillar of the goddamn gaming community. The person who knows all of the wrongs of the gaming community, knows everything that's wrong and knows how to fix it, but no one will listen to him because he has all these haters out here that are debunking his lies on a daily basis. Because of some dumb shit he said 5 years ago and ran with that lie for 5+ years, then all of a sudden he tries to change the narrative and he gets mad that people call him out on it. Pillar of the community, though. You know what I'm saying? Someone that should be looked up to and respected. Can't even get off his own ass to take care of his own business as a man. Or pig. Or a roach. Or a combination of the three. Whatever. You know what I mean? It's walking Polish sausage for all I care.
Fuck that guy.
People trying to play as the victim. Yeah, well, that's what it is. They do something bad, but then they realize, oh shit, maybe we went over the line and we're going to get in trouble for it. Oh, quick, let's try to flip it so that we're innocent. It's called, defense mode, panic mode, for people who know that they screwed up.
I mean, I'll be very honest. The wedding was a thing that Kat and I wanted to do, but we were in no hurry to do. But once my parents said, listen, you should come out here and spend time with us because we both have medical issues or whatever, we were like, maybe now's the time. Maybe even now, we were talking about it, this isn't the time because we might not get the chance. You know what I mean? Again, next time maybe when one of my parents passed away, it would be terrible. Right? We have the chance to do it now, let's just do it. So we did, you know?
We really were. We were pressured a little bit to do it.
And I really don't feel we did it too early. I don't. I think we did it at the right time anyway. Like, we were ready. But, that's just kind of the bottom line. But the thing is, people don't believe me. They constantly think I'm just making shit up. So, yeah, of course, Phil lied about all that. His parents don't have any problems at all, right?
And so people actually believe.
First off, I'm going to take a refill on this latte. And there's free refills for everybody for this moment. So make sure you just show your receipts at the register. It's all on me. First thing. You felt pressured into this wedding. You guys wanted to get married, but Then your parents said that you need to go out there and visit them because supposedly they were dying. I mean, supposedly they were sick. I mean, they're actually okay, but you never know what's going to happen. And we should probably just go ahead and go out there because it's on their dime. Despite the fact that beforehand, Phil said that there was no way he could take a week off to go out there because, one, he didn't have the money to go out there. Two, he was going to miss out on the money, all of the money that he could have potentially made while working. All of that was going to be out of the question. All for him to run up out there and do it anyway after mommy was willing to flip the bill. All right, whatever. So first thing is, he told us he couldn't get married. Couldn't afford it, just couldn't do it. Now, oh, we were kind of pressured to do it because my parents asked us to go out there. Now I'm hearing some silly shit about what? Oh, well, this might be our last chance to do it because if my parents die, so on and so forth. I don't mean to sound like a fucking asshole right now, ladies and gentlemen, but how many people have lost a parent out there and still got married? How many people out there were adopted and still got married? How many people out there had nobody on their side of their family except for their friends? Beatrice Kiddo type shit. And still got married. So now let me get this straight. Okay? Got a little bit too much coffee in me. I'm on like my third triple stack and shit. Let me get this straight. Phil and Kat ended up getting married when they did. Because if they didn't, Phil's parents were going to die and it would have been too late at that point. Did Kat's parents show up to the wedding? Now, granted, Kat's parents aren't dead. They're not even sick as far as we know. Well, that's a different story for a different day. But anyway, did they show up to the wedding? At all? Did she have any representation at all from her half of the family? No. So Phil needed to get married before his parents passed away because reasons. You didn't want your parents to think you were a complete and total failure. You didn't want them to think that you were still hiding in the closet. You wanted to go ahead and make sure you could wipe off that underage panda off of you. What exactly? I need a little bit more out of this. This is very, very strange. Even for Pignosis, this is odd. Let me just go ahead and marinate on this for a minute.
Oh, people are just very gullible on the internet. I don't know what else to say.
Indeed. And then he gets mad that no one believes him when his circumstances just kept changing up, kept switching up, if you will. And he expects people to take him seriously. Jesus Christ, even low-tier God has thinkers in his fan base. What the hell is this? Oh my. Oh my. Can't wait to see what the comment section has to say about that.
Oh, here we go. I'm Hot Dog, the asshole who insulted me earlier, and now he's trolling me, saying I had a forced wedding or something. What the fuck are you talking about? A forced wedding? What is
I
that
mean,
even?
you did say you were pressured. I mean, forced would be kind of considered another way of saying pressured. Maybe a much more aggressive tone for it, but it's in that spectrum. I mean, I don't need to explain this to you. Didn't you guys know? Phil's a linguist. He's and valedictorian. What the fuck do I know? I'm just a cute pup in a sharp suit.
You're an idiot.
With this salt flavor. Oh.
Explain to me $1 cents. Are there any positive developments with the condo? Let me put it this way. At this point, I have no idea what's going to happen. I just know there's no way I'm going to own it permanently anymore. So I don't know how it's going to go down, but I would think probably sooner rather than later I won't own a condo in Connecticut anymore. And it's basically going to ruin my credit for a long time because of this, but at least hopefully in the short term it'll give me a little bit of relief. I don't know how much it's going to give me. But yeah, basically I'm not going to be owning that condo forever. I mean, and the thing is, it might have long-term negative repercussions because the condo, let's say for example, the condo in Connecticut, let's say we can't come to an agreement, I can't come to an agreement with the mortgage company on how to have an amicable resolution. So basically they just foreclose on it, they sell it off, and then they sue me for the remainder of money that I owe. That could happen, and then I might end up having to pay off that money. Now, would that be worst case scenario? I don't know. I don't know how much money reasonably it would even be. And more than likely it would be at a situation where I can afford it, because I can't afford anything right now. So if I could prove to them, listen, you shouldn't afford nothing, how am I supposed to pay you this money? More than likely it would have to be on reasonable terms that a court would determine or whatever. I don't know. But, that condo is going to be gone. There's nothing I can do about it. That thing's out of here, man.
What the hell? There's a
Okay, let's talk about the reality of that. Because That was poor execution on his part. All right, so let's talk about this condo. This is personal opinion, of course, but it's rational, okay? Because even his parents wouldn't let him do this. Wouldn't let him go about it the way he's saying. Someone is paying that condo, whether he's putting half on it and his parents are putting half on it, because they are his crutch, by the way. So it only makes sense that this 40-year-old or almost 40-year-old would have mommy and daddy help him flip the bill on that condo. What Phil's going to try to do, or I think what Phil is doing, is that his parents agreed to either take up some payments for the next couple months, and then maybe leading into the 2020 year, they'll go half and half with him. I could see them doing that, right? You know, even though they live smack dab in the fucking hood and shit, and apparently everybody who's of a darker skin tone gets shot and killed, you know, just saying. They apparently have all this money out there to go ahead and spend. So I would assume his parents are going to do that. They're going to just help him limp along. Why not? Everybody else does. Until he gets himself into a better financial basis, he finally pays it off, and then he finally sells it. That's the way to go about it. This idiot's talking about getting sued. Outside of one, if they end up suing him for whatever the remainder is, I mean, dude, they're going to probably get you for everything that you owe them. They're probably going to sue you for everything that you owe. Now, excuse me, could he settle for a lesser amount? Sure. They probably could. The bank might be willing to take a small hit on it, but why do that when you can just go ahead and catch him for everything? And then on top of the court fees that are going to be associated with that, if they actually have to sue him for it. I don't know why he's thinking that too. Basically, everything that he's saying is complete and total fuckery that's going to screw him up 10 or 15 years down the line. Easy. And if mommy and daddy are literally on the cuffs of about croaking, about checking out, then why would they let this moronic piece of shit of a son, right? Why would they let him basically pummel himself further and further into debt? That makes no sense. The way he explained it makes one think he's an absolute moron. That he has no idea how the real world works, and is going to put himself in even worse of a financial situation. There is nothing logical or even reasonable about what he said at all. And he's sitting here talking about, oh, the bank's going to need to be reasonable if they really want their money. No, the bank wins either which way. Either which way, the bank's going to win. Regardless. That's why you keep saying this silly nonsense about, oh, I'm not going to own it forever, I'm not going to own it forever. But you still own it now. Or you don't own shit, really. You're still paying on it. You don't own jack shit until the deed is in your name. And it's not. You just have a mortgage payment. That just goes to show how stupid you are. With that being said. So, I would have to say that what's actually going on is mom and dad are helping him pay the bill off. Pay his mortgage off, I should say. Until he gets himself into a better financial spot. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's still a 10-year plan out there that in 10 years, after he crawls himself out of all this debt, which puts him at what, almost 50? Then he can go off and get a real job. Oh, you guys didn't know that? Yeah, Phil's going to go ahead and keep up with this internet thing that's failing, by the way, for the next 10 years until he gets himself out of debt. And then he's going to go and get himself a real job. Brilliant strategy, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. I said it was stupid when he first said it. It sounds even worse now. DSP News?
Did you see that? There was a cat pushing a pig. Bullying him. Pushing him all around.
Yes, Cody Carls, this is not even a new troll meme. Listen to this. So Cody Carls Shooty said, what's people saying you planned your sickness a month in advance to avoid a podcast? This is a new troll meme. This apparently is based on something that happened like 3 years ago. I think it was supposedly supposed to be a podcast that, of all people, Wings of Redemption wanted me to be on. Long before I became a full-time streamer, and somehow Wings of Redemption memes became a part of my streams, which I don't even understand how the fuck that happened. But, like 3 years ago, they wanted me to be on a podcast, okay? Basically, when it was supposed to be, I got sick. I felt awful. I didn't do any work that day at all. I didn't stream, nothing. I was very sick. And I told them I would still like to be on the podcast. Let me know when they're going to do it again, so that I could be on, because I'd still like to be a guest. They said, okay, we'll let you know. Well, I never ever received another email whatsoever from Wings of Redemption ever again. Never. I never got an email about it at all. Period. Apparently later that week, I got better. I went back on stream. I was streaming again, waiting to hear from them. Apparently they had the podcast without telling me, and the whole podcast was about how I lied about being sick. I dodged them, and apparently they riffed on me the whole podcast, even though I don't know anything about it. I was honestly sick. I couldn't be on the podcast because I was sick. I told them I wanted to be on it later. They did it again without ever telling me it was happening, and then they made fun of me the whole time. So after that, I was like,
one, hasn't he done, like, Axe the Kings or Hate Live while he was sick? Just saying, first thing. Second thing is, let's even go by just the smallest spectrum that what he's saying is true. He was sick on the day it was supposed to happen. A couple days later, he gets better. Why didn't he reach out to Wings and be like, hey, I'm better now. When do you want me to come on? Why did he feel like they had to accommodate him? If he was really interested in going on that podcast, why didn't he reach back out to them? More importantly than that, what if Wings didn't reach out to him? What if one of the other 3 members of that... Yeah, there's 4 of them. So what if one of the other 3 members of that podcast reached out to him, he didn't recognize it, and he just avoided the email? Or if he mysteriously, moved Wings' email to his spam folder and just never checked? How about those things? So this lazy piece of shit won't get off his own ass and at least reach out to them and be like, hey guys, I'm better. Do you still want to confirm me for whenever you're doing it? Doesn't want to do that. Then he says these people rip on him, right? For no reason, because he did nothing wrong, as you know. And that was that. But why didn't he say anything about this 3 years ago? Why is he waiting until now to talk about that? Oh, because someone else came out and said it, and he had to go ahead and come up with his cover story. When in actuality, he basically left these guys out in the snow. And I certainly do remember at least the segment where Wings read off the dude's email. He read DSP's email explaining, hey, I'm sick, this, that, and the third, and their correspondence, I should say. He read some of their correspondence, and he was like, all right, well, we can push this back if you want, this, that, and the third. How about we go for this date? Oh, I think I'm going to be sick then, too. Like a month out. A month from the time to try to accommodate him, they were willing to push him to the next podcast they do, or 2 podcasts later, whatever, and he still came up with an excuse why he couldn't do that. But this guy right here was as scared as his dead little rabbit behind his parents' house is. Sorry about that, Theo. But he's as scared he was as scared as his rabbit's corpse is behind his parents' house, because he knew he could have just reached out to them and been like, "Hey, when do you guys want me to come on?" In actuality, he didn't want to go up there and say that he didn't want to go on that podcast because he knew that they were going to rip him for it. Because he's a coward. That's why. He's up there with 4 people who were somebodies, and he was scared that they were going to bring up some of the drama that was going on in 2015 around him, which they probably weren't. He was still, I guess he was a speaking point at that time, in a much larger scale, I should say, at one time in 2015. So it might be interesting to see what Darkside Phil had to say about the current gaming community, or landscape, or something. But he felt that he was better than them, so he was like, fuck that. I don't need to do that shit. And because they allegedly ripped on him for the whole podcast, now he hates Wings. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real reason why he hates Wings now. Funny how 3 years has gone by. All Wings said was, hey, he doesn't want to come on, this, that, and the third. A bunch of guys said, fuck him then. And they moved on. And Phil got pissed off about that. And because they wouldn't accommodate to him, similar to the Drunken Peasants, and now he hates Wings for it. Wow. If that's not petty, I don't know what is.
Why the fuck would I ever want to be on these idiots' podcasts? They're a bunch of fucking assholes who just wanted to start drama. It's apparent this is what they wanted to begin with. So I never cared about it again. I guess...
Bam! That was his real reason for not going on. And he had that mindset before when they first asked him to come onto the podcast. That's what he was thinking. Oh, they're going to start shit with me. They're going to make fun of me. They're going to embarrass me. I'm not doing that. That's what it was. And came up with the sick angle, like a bitch, because he wasn't man enough to tell them, nah, I'm not interested.
One of the assholes from that podcast apparently made a joke this week about, oh, I wanted Phil on my podcast in August, but he already told me in advance he's going to be sick next month. So basically, I guess he's making some kind of fucking insult against me, underhanded insult about something that happened 3 fucking years ago that I literally had nothing to do with. It's all them creating the drama and lying to make drama for themselves, to make, I guess, some content for their streams or whatever. So basically, a shithead lying out of their ass to get drama attention. Are you surprised this is the state of people on the internet? Idiots lying about stuff to get drama attention for themselves?
My mouth is full of salt.
Apparently this guy, too, I've never even talked to this guy. Like, I've never even talked to this guy before, ever. I don't know who the fuck he is. I've never had contact with the guy who's talking shit about me. Benboxer is saying, do I think I'll have enough money to save up for a vacation? Dude, no. I have no money for anything. Alright? But you need to understand, because he says, oh, if you don't pay that mortgage anymore, you'll have a lot of extra money, right? Yeah. What a piece of shit.
That's failure right there. So there's the W pose on that. Mommy and Daddy will pay for that next vacation. Trust me. Rest assured that that's when the next time him and Kat need to leave town for some mysterious reason or for some bullshit reason, it's because they're going on vacation and it's on somebody else's dime. It's gonna be definitely you guys in the pig pen. You know what I'm saying? But Mommy and Daddy are more likely gonna flip the bill. Everything you guys contribute is just gonna be spending money. So congratulations for being cucks.
Gun. Anyway, one more. Yeah, he had a Spitfire. I had a piece of garbage gun. One more game, I guess. But you don't understand, Bitboxer? It's very simple. I make way less money this year than I used to. Like, this year, with how bad my YouTube channel dipped in January, I actually make more.
Whoa. Okay, wait a second. This right here has been the worst year financially for me. But then we flip to, I've made more, and then, huh? Oh boy. Oh boy. I think our little piggy messed up there. I think I smell chitlins cooking. I smell ham hocks. I smell pork chops.
What?
Excuse me. I make less than 1,000. All right. How can I say this? I make
Wow, you mind fucked yourself. Look, this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you lie all the fucking time. And now you can't even get your point across. You want to tell him that, hey, you're being successful. You're successful. But I'm taking a dip right now. This year has been the worst year possible, right? But this month, I'm making more money than I did the previous year. That's what you wanted to say. That's what you wanted to say. But you fucked it up. Because you lied too goddamn much. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oink oink.
Even more than $1,000 less every month this year than I did all of last year. My income went down by a giant chunk, starting in January of this year, by over $1,000. So even though I may not be paying the mortgage in Connecticut anymore, all it did was make up for the money that I'm not making off of YouTube anymore, and that's why I can't afford anything. You see what I mean? Like,
now,
it wasn't...
So now we're relying on phantom money. We're relying on phantom funds. The money that I should have made, I'm not making. So since I'm not spending money over on the condo anymore, allegedly, that money just goes back in my pocket. But since I didn't actually earn it over here like I should have, it doesn't really exist. So don't even worry about that. He's just throwing bacon grease all over the place and just hoping that it'll blind everybody to what's really going on. The mental gymnastics that he goes through on a daily basis is not worth it. It isn't worth it to make 6 figures. I'm sorry. This is dumb. This is just really, really dumb. Like, it's not even worth it. If he really goes to bed at night waiting for Kat to show up, knowing that she's getting piped down by the better man, and thinks that he's winning, let him. But it's not worth it. It's really not.
Like, oh, Phil he's not paying a mortgage in Connecticut anymore, so now he has all this extra money. No, the reason I stopped paying the mortgage in Connecticut is because I'm not making the money to pay the mortgage in Connecticut anymore. So, I don't have any money at all. I have no money for anything. I think the office job was paying me, when I got laid off, I want to say I had just gotten a raise, essentially, which is hilarious. They laid me off after giving me a raise the year before. And I think I had finally was starting to make like $60,000 a year. I think. Don't quote me on that, because I don't know. It's been a long time. I certainly haven't looked at anything in a million years. But I think I was making roughly about that when they laid me off. Okay? But the bottom line is, I was doing work, and I was working my ass off at this job, doing things I shouldn't have been
Okay,
doing.
so first off, so Daddy put him in a cushy position, right, where he was making $60,000 a year, and he still figured out a way to get his ass in debt. He's making over $100,000 plus a year, but at his peak, he was making closer to the $200,000 mark, I think. But that's neither here nor there. But he's making six figures now, and he still can't figure out. He's making $100,000 a year, and he still can't figure out how to keep his shit together. It just sounds like he's terrible with, well, we already knew this, but he's terrible with money. Daddy, yet again, put you in a position, and you still figured out a way to fuck it all up. You somehow was able to suck off this dude to go ahead and get yourself into the big money on YouTube, and you still fucked it all up. Now, you have all these kids and whatnot, and all these other exceptional individuals, as Medicare would say, paying your way, and you can't even keep your lives together. You're the epitome of failure. You really are. You are the epitome of just what it is to fuck up and keep fucking up. Amazing. Just goddamn amazing.
I was doing the work of what's considered a continuous improvement person, someone who goes for specialist training to basically revamp a business. So I was doing these crazy high-level process maps of the stuff inside this business. I was leading fucking events that someone who does that job should be getting paid, no lie, like $100,000 a year. And I know because my dad had that job, and he was getting paid way more than me. Yet they had me doing the same work as my dad, and they were paying me like $50,000 less than what my dad was fucking making.
Wait a second, cuck. First thing is, your father's been there for a long time. He has experience. Two, you're just some piglet that they threw in position. What makes you think that you're supposed to earn what your father earned and you don't have his experience? Secondly, I still feel that little ace bullshit is just a training course that you took. It's not an actual position. I still feel that, but let's say that I'm wrong. Let's say that is a branch. It's a branch of another department, right? And that's what his position was. One, he's not doing all that on his own. He's doing that with a group of people. He said that his father used to have that position, which means more than likely his father was heading up that department or that section, which means that means he was working under Daddy, which means nepotism. On top of that, that means he was working with a group of other people. Is this idiot really right here? Would you really think this idiot here was going to be able to hold down the goddamn fort on his own? If you rationally think that in my comment section, I want you to tweet at me, and we need to have a conversation. I want you to explain to me point by point on how this idiot here, who can't successfully run a YouTube channel, got himself kicked off a blip, can't get his shit together on Twitch, was able to actually run a company. Or no. He helped make improvements in a company by himself, which is what he's making it sound like. He's the one who was doing all the graphs. He was the one that was doing all the marketing. He was the one that was having all the events. You tell me, I want somebody to explain that to me. I want someone to rationally explain that to me point by point. I want to hear that. That this is what this idiot right here was able to do. I think he can't even walk and chew hay at the same time. And you think he was able to make all that happen. And to be honest, by just what I'm getting from this narrative, he was more concerned about the money over the actual work itself. It sounds like he hated the work. It sounds like he really loved the money, though. That's what that sounds like. And then, apparently, he's got either an inferiority, not an inferiority complex. He has, it's not an inferiority complex. What's the word? I don't know. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for now. I just kind of lost it. I can't think of the word now. Let's reword that then. That's kind of a shot at Daddy there a little bit too. Okay, your father has been working for this company for over a decade, if I remember correctly, probably 2. He's making $100,000 a year at this position. Daddy gets you into the company And then you automatically assume because you're doing similar work to what your father did, despite his experience, despite all the other training and the other experience that he has in other departments, you should be making $100,000 a year because you're doing what he's doing. Which means that you think you're the equivalent to him. I can't even call that retardation because that would be offensive. That would be offensive to say that. I'm infuriated.
So they basically screwed me over. They had me doing high-level work, didn't ever pay me for the work that I was doing. They were still paying me the pay of a customer service rep. And then they fucking laid me off when I finished the work. It was like a total fuck you job.
Now, are you the guy?
Wait, so then it wasn't an actual position then? If they, oh boy, okay, he said he was at this helicopter company for 5 years. Then all of a sudden he gets moved over to this team, right? Like bear with me on this. He gets moved over to this team. He does some temporary work with them, and then he gets laid off. Well, no, he gets training. He actually does the work, and then he gets laid off. There's a bigger picture missing in all this. Or there's a much bigger piece missing from it, I should say. Interesting. Okay, let's look at it another way. So Daddy is actually the head of this department. They go ahead and give his piece of shit son training to let's say take up his father's position, to in turn move his father over to something else. He in turn comes in. It sounds like he botched the job and then they let his ass go. Or they were looking to dissolve the position anyway, and they were probably going to form, if not, they already had a department that was similar to what this ace bullshit was supposed to be. Not bullshit, but you know what I mean. What this ace position was supposed to be. And for whatever reason, he didn't take the position because, if I had to guess, he's complaining about money here. But that's not enough to fire him, though. That's not enough. That's not a good enough reason to liquidate him of his position. They would have had to have something else on him. As the plot thickens.
You're the guy and I'm watching your Twitch. Okay then. I'm just the guy. Okay. I'm just the guy.
Alright, let's see. Timbo Slice Cherry said, bankruptcy is not as it was years ago. A lot of people do it and then years down the road have an amazing life. It's definitely something to look into. Listen, I don't want to do it unless I absolutely have to, but I know there's tons of criteria that you need to have to qualify. Certainly having 2 fucking homes in my name, I'm not going to qualify for it. So if anything, well, you know, once the condo in Connecticut is out of my name, whether I get sued for whatever the remaining money I owe on it or not happens, I think getting that condo out of my name is going to help me in the long run anyway, because maybe it'll help me to qualify for assistance.
Wait, if you're planning on abandoning the condominium no matter what, there is no other thing. That's basically what he's saying. He's saying he's going to abandon the condo, the bank's going to take it back, they're going to sell it, and then they're going to sue him for the remainder. But he has this spot here for something extra, which goes back to my original point. I don't know why you would give people options, or even give them the speculation that there could be options when you're trying to push a narrative that this is your only choice. I don't understand why he does things like that. And he wonders why people doubt him so much.
Whatever in the long run anyway, but there's no way anyone would say, oh, you own 2 homes and you're gonna try to get fucking bankruptcy? Yeah, right. That's never gonna happen. Cody Carl's Cheers said, did your dad help you get in as a reference, or did you get in by yourself?
Yes!
Basically, my dad told me there were openings at the job, and then he just told me, here, apply, and I did. Now, I'm assuming the people who were hiring knew that I was his son. I don't know how much that factored in, but they were impressed with me.
Oh my God!
That kind of proves my point. Well, one, definitely nepotism, for sure. Especially if his father's well-liked. And I'd like to think he's not a complete, total human piece of garbage like his son. So, that might be a thing. But 2, yet again, I don't know about you, but if my pops helped me get into a position, I wouldn't have a problem saying that. But he does. He has, apparently Dave, which is his daddy's name, by the way, he apparently has Phil here has a real problem with Dave. He really don't like Dave very much. Which is odd, because you say you talk to Dave every weekend, yet you feel like you only got the job because they were impressed with you, nothing to do with your father, and that your father was working a position and he was making 6 figures a year and you should be making 6 figures a year. It's almost as if you believe that you're your father's equivalent. I don't know. Does your father beg for money these days, Phil? Is he a complete, total, fucking useless loser, piece of garbage too? Is that what his stick is? How did he keep your mom for so long? Is your mom playing the role of cat and basically she runs everything? And your father's just the workhorse, the real workhorse. Is that what that situation is? I'm so confused and I have so many questions now. I really do. I really do.
Oh God!
They weren't impressed with necessarily my dad, you know, knowing that I was the son of someone who already worked there or anything like that. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing something different as well on the late stream tonight. Tonight we're going to be doing classic Street Fighter. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be going back to the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection that came out last year. And I'm going to attempt to play some Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. And, depending on how things go, some Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We're going to see how it goes and how many matches I can find and the like. Now, it's funny because some people have said, oh, this is Phil's attempt to cheaply cash in on Evo. Now, what's absolutely hilarious is I didn't even know that Evo was this weekend.
Now you know he's a liar on that. Phil watches what happens at Evo, and he does it because he's insanely mad at the fact that the people that were around the time he was, right, have gone. Most of them have actually gone on to be Evo winners. That must really burn Phil's bacon. That must really light a fire under his pig butt. Is that there's actually some of those guys he came up with actually went on to be Evo winners. What I mean by winners, by the way, Phil, I mean first place winners. Number one. Numero uno. You know, the man. The real man. Not fourth place finishes, but saying number 1 ranked Super Turbo player. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. Not that. They do give out, you know, participation medals, but I think that's for like top 8. So, you know, you still have that, I guess, if that makes you feel better. But the actual winners. And Phil has to look at that, first off. And I think every year they honor a group of people who have been influential in the community at that time. His 2005 to 2007, 2008 class, most of those dudes have been honored already. I don't know, Phil. I hear talks of your name used to come up, but then it don't come up no more. It's apparently it's not a thing anymore. And I'm pretty sure that burns you pretty bad. And you're just enough of a punk bitch, right? Punk bitch that you would see one of those guys that you used to compete against take, you know, not make it into the top 10, not even make it into the top 8, and then you have something to say about it later. You're kind of just the piece of shit to do so. I wouldn't be too far off the mark, would it, Phil? Would it? That's all right. You can oink later.
I'm good at lying. And so, I was like, wow, I guess it just kind of goes, it coincides with it. I didn't intentionally mean to do that, but I guess it works, right? It's greed. It's greed. Greed is massively strong. I have no fucking self-control. So tonight we're going to be doing that. It's a late stream. We're going to see how it goes. Yet these fuckers slurp it up like fucking noodles, like, hype. Oh, ooh, I gotta eat it. Gotta eat the hype. Oh,
JB tipped me $3 and says the following. He says, some insight. The reason why people are saying that your surprise on Sunday is going to be a baby announcement is because of how you dealt with the wedding. You lied about that, regardless of how you perceive it.
You're absolutely right. I did lie about the wedding.
Because, well, all right, let me put it this way. I didn't lie about the wedding. I just didn't tell.
Wait. You lied. You admitted that you lied, and now we got to backtrack and say I didn't lie. It sounds to me like we're just revving up for a whole nother lie, ladies and gentlemen. You already know how this is gonna go.
You guys anything about the wedding?
Lol.
You know, I purposely hid every single detail about it because I knew it was in our best interest to protect myself and my family. I knew that if I had talked about it publicly, that there was a chance that people would try to fuck with us and or hurt my family, and I wasn't going to deal with that shit. You know, I had to keep it a secret. So you guys are absolutely right. Right, exactly. Lie by omission. I guess that's what you could say. Rumpelstiltskin, it's a lie by omission. I guess that's the proper term for it. The thing is, people who've been around, you know, and know the shit that I've been through over the years completely understand why I had to do that with the sickos and shit that have tried to fuck with me over the years, right?
So hey,
I understand. So you consider that as justification? What about those who have been around for a number of years and don't deal with the drama and is really only there for the gameplay? What about them? So how do you think they feel that their trust has been betrayed when you lied to them for what? I mean, you lied all the way up till the week before you got married. Or you were to be married, if you will. You lied up to that point. You pretty much lied up until the day that you left. Saying, oh, we're not going to get married, we're just going to visit my dying parents. I'm sorry, my sick parents. I mean, there's nothing actually wrong with them, they're just getting old. You remember how you walked that lie back, you know, time after time after time. Wow.
Some people are like, well, we can't trust anything Phil says or does anymore. He says there's no baby, there's a baby.
Well, I guess you're just gonna have to see on Sunday if we hit the tips goal.
It's gross.
Putting it behind a paywall. Find out if my wife is carrying a baby if we hit the paywall on it. If you guys hit the tips goal. Wow. Jesus Christ.
It's for this. It's not because they love what they're doing. It's not because for the love of the game or because they're true gamers. It's for this. And this is what it's become. It's not about putting out a quality review. It's not about putting out a quality playthrough or quality stream. It's about making this.
A mature, intelligent frog has done a 50-bit cheer and has an insightful cheer. You ready? He says, hey Phil, I'm an aspiring detractor. I already have the basics down. Step 1, a bucket of shit to pour over your head. Step 2, slander to ruin your day. Step 3, lots of nasty comments about your wife. Let's see. He says, do I have any additional tips to complete... Oh, do you have any additional tips to completely ruin my life? Oh, dude,
Not really nasty stuff to say about Catherine, just nasty stuff that you would do to Catherine. I think that's a bit more fulfilling. And she'd enjoy it too. So, big ups.
I can give you like 4 million of them, but the thing is I'm not going to. Because that's the thing, like, the reason that people do shit to fuck with me is because they hope they can get a rise out of me, right? They want to hear me rage about it. They want to feel like something they've done to me has a concrete impact on me and my day. They want to hear it on a stream. They want to see it in a tweet.
Oh my God.
And if I don't give them the time of day, they don't get that satisfaction, right? And that's why I don't tell you guys about, probably no exaggeration, 95% of the shit that people do to fuck with me, I don't talk about anymore. Because there's no point, because I don't want to give these people the attention that they're craving. Alright? So
you don't want to give these people the attention that they're craving, despite the fact that you're up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching wrestling and reading Kiwi Farms and then regurgitating whatever you've heard in whatever Detractor video that you've been listening to throughout the night as well. But you don't want to give them any attention. You don't want to talk about the 95% of gay ops that is allegedly happening to you behind the scenes because you don't want to give them the time of day. You don't want to give them the satisfaction. And since you know all about not giving at least the women in your life satisfaction, I guess you would be a pro at that. Anyway, so how are you winning though, to be honest, when it obviously bothers you? And we know that's true because you read Kiwi Farms and you watch Detractor content. Shouldn't you be trying to stay away from that altogether, just like you tell the people in the cult to? That you don't indulge in brain-dead activities like that? But yet you're knee-deep in that shit. There are numerous times on Twitter where you proved it. Oh well. Semantics, I guess.
there's much, much more that they do, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because that's exactly what they want. Rumpelstiltskin's cheered again. He says, it seems that you've leaked a surprise. People are saying you got an aquarium full of frogs.
I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh!
It could be. You got to tune in on Sunday, and hopefully we hit the tips goal, and you guys will find out, right? We'll see what happens on Sunday. Front Bottom Filth cheered and said, do you ever feel disempowered by relying on the generosity of others rather than pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and being self-reliant? Considering the fact that for the last, let's see, 8 years, I've been 100% reliant on others? No.
What? Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. Seriously.
When I was a YouTuber, I was reliant on ad revenue. Ad revenue was reliant on video views.
Oh, wait, Piggy. You also relied on donations, too. Because those donations helped you buy games. I know that, because... excuse me. I know that, because I've gone over videos of you talking about that. That donations help. And they go a long way, because you have to buy a lot of games this year, or those years, I should say. And that shit is not cheap, despite the fact that you're making $60,000 a year. Just saying. So, let's not act like it was just... You need the clicks. You know what I'm saying? You need that ad revenue off YouTube, being that you've had a donation button since the beginning. Let's not go ahead and misskew that.
Okay, so I was relying on people to come out and watch my content, alright, in order
And I said miskew, not mystique. So, you know, I wasn't talking about Marmalade or anything. Or molasses. Keep it down, Phil. I understand. I know you're hungry. I know you're waiting for Kat to make you enchiladas or mashed potatoes with the skins on. I don't know, whatever she cooks.
to keep things going. Then I had to open a Patreon, right? Then I opened a merchandise shop, Teespring. And now I'm reliant on income from the streams. And the bottom line is it's not different for anything else. Are you saying, let me ask you this front bottom, Phil, because I'm very curious about this, alright? Are you telling me that when you go to a restaurant, alright, you go to a restaurant, and you have a good meal, and you have a waiter that did an exceptional job at serving you. They brought you your food in a timely manner. They're very complimentary. Maybe they brought you some extra things you asked for, extra napkins, whatever you wanted. They did a really good job. And at the end of your meal, you say, okay, I'd like to tip this waiter, and you said, leave him a nice tip. Alright? What's the difference between that or you go to someone's stream, they do a really good job of entertaining you, they put out a fun stream, you know, good content, good interactions, maybe you even got to talk to them during the stream, you had a few good laughs, a few hours of entertainment, at the end of the stream you say, man, that was a good one, I'm going to send this guy a tip because he did a good job. Same exact thing. In fact,
it's not. First things first, your waiter or waitress does not ask you to tip. That's the first thing. Everything that you said, as it pertains to the waiter or waitress, is their job. To be honest. Going above and beyond, Phil, if this is what, if you want to be an asshole about it, is you don't have to ask for anything extra. They know. It's called being attentive. Okay? They know what you want before you need it. That's being attentive. That is going above and beyond. You asking for them to do something and they do it is just part of service in general. But if you're talking about exceptional service, that's what that is. I guess that's a little bit subjective. I guess that depends on where you're going. But in either case, you guys kind of catch my drift. Now, at the end of the day, when they bring you your bill, it's a choice on your part whether you tip or not. I'm a firm believer in tipping. I know plenty of people that aren't, I should say, which is kind of silly to me. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day. I just don't. I mean, granted, that kind of goes back to that little clip that I used to use in front of these videos from Reservoir Dogs. It kind of works like that a little bit. At least that's some of the mindset of the people that show it. But that's neither here nor there. When they're around me, they have to tip because that's just mandatory. And that if you want, and people who don't tip, they remember it. Like, trust me, if you have people who you trust handling your food, washing your car, cutting your hair, whatever the case may, you know what I'm saying, doing your dry cleaning, whatever. If they have an option to tip, just tip. It's just tip. It's not going to hurt you. It really not. But anyway, they don't ask you for tips. They don't demand tips. They don't beg you for tips. I have never had a waitress, I've had more waitresses than anything. I've never had a waitress come to me and say, if you don't tip, I can't serve. I won't be able to serve the next person that comes in. I won't be here next week and I won't have a job. I've never had anybody ever tell me that. I'm sure most of you, if not almost all of you, have never heard that either. So there's a very, very big difference from what Phil does and what people who actually work hard for a living do. Now, let's go ahead and apply it to his logic. You come to your stream, you have a good time, and you decide to tip him at the end of the day. Doesn't Phil have a pre-stream? And doesn't Phil, within that pre-stream, have a whole segment where he talks about contributions and all the ways you can give him money, and then complements that with reasons why you should go ahead and tip him, or why you should give him bits, or give him cheers, or so on and so forth? He has all of this reinforcement onto why you should give him money. And then, as the stream goes on, oh, contributions are low, guys. Oh, guys, I'm in so much trouble with my taxes. Oh, guys, I'm overdraft. This, that, and a third. Wink, wink, hint, hint, oink, oink. Please give me money. Does your waiter or waitress do that every time they touch down at your table? Do other streamers do that every time you're on their streams and they see whoever you are pop up and say, hey, welcome to the stream. Don't forget to tip me on your way out. Jesus Christ, I'm a cute pup in a sharp suit, and I don't even tell you guys leave a bone on your way to the newsroom. So explain that to me. Explain the nonsense logic that comes out of that. If you do a good job, then I'm sure people will be gracious. But you begging and pig-splaining on why they need to do it, or you're not going to be around tomorrow, or the day after, or the year after, is completely different. And for anybody who basically just slurps all that up and thinks, oh, you know what, Phil's being rational, he has a good point. There's a reason why he's enslaved you. There's a reason why he looks at you guys as nothing more than walking ATMs. He looks at you guys as serfs. There's a reason for that. Peasants. Merely there to be used and discarded. And don't at me on Twitter for that.
It's the same exact thing. I can tell you that because I pay taxes on my tips just like a waiter pays taxes on their tips. It's exactly the same thing legally. There's no difference. So what you're telling me is that basically someone who works in the food services industry and relies on tips, or someone who's a bartender relies on tips, right? Those people aren't legit. They don't deserve what they get. You know,
no, those people are legit. The difference is they don't beg for it. You're talking about how you obtain those tips, not what the actual validity of what a tip is, what the credibility of a tip is. No one's calling that into question. We're calling into question how it's obtained. It's completely different. We understand what tips are for. We understand that people do it for a living, or they rely on their tips for a living, and that's how they pay their bills, and they have to pay taxes on it. But it's how they obtain the tips. It's how they go about getting tipped is a different story. It's amazing how he's going to sit here and talk himself into a circle for nothing. But this is where the pig noses comes into play. That's why it's all confusion, kinda. It's not very good though.
Ashamed of themselves because they rely on tips, right? I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Here's a different situation. A patron of the arts, right? So someone is an artist and they make a song or they make a painting that you guys really like, and so I want to be a patron of this person, right? I want to support them. And so if
you want to be a patron of an artist, since you want to do that, if you want to go the art part, like I don't even think you've ever gone to an art gallery unless you were in school. But since you want to go that route, let's go that route. If you want to be a patron of an artist, you buy their art. That's what you do. You buy their art. You tell others to buy their art too. You don't buy their art and then you give them a tip in his little paintbrush jar or cup or tin. That's not how that works. You buy their art. You buy what they create.
You send them some funds or you buy their works, right? What's the difference? There's no difference. But the thing is, because...
This, in some ways, this is why he got in trouble with that business state tax. Panda was providing a product. Phil, allegedly, is providing a service. When an artist paints, draws, or sculpts, whatever, they're creating something. That something can be sold as a product. What Phil does is a service. Whatever he does on stream, I should say, has no monetary value to it. I can't take what Phil does and then sell it to somebody else. I can go ahead and I can take his work and transform it and then sell it to somebody else, or give it a value and place it and have people buy it. But what he does on stream in its raw form is nothing. It is dirt. It is dirt that needs to be molded. Well, it needs to first be It needs to go through a purification process. And then it needs to be molded and shaped and formed and then presented. You see how that works, Phil? You provide, you're theoretically providing a service. Your service is meaningless. It doesn't have anything to it. You know that. That's why you rely on tips. Because you're not really giving them anything. You are providing a source of entertainment, if you will. So maybe that's what you're giving them. A source of entertainment. Something to fill their time slot for however long they have. And on the basis of that, if they like it, they can tip you. The problem is, back to its core, is you're begging for tips. It's not, thank you guys for showing up. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you give me is welcome. And then you move on into the stream, or you just end the stream. You start your pre-stream talking about that shit. You go throughout your stream talking about it, and you sometimes end your streams talking about it. That's begging. That is soliciting tips, if you think about it. So before people can even come to the conclusion of whether they like what you've provided, you've already guilt-tripped them, and you've already put the notion in their head that, oh, well, if I don't tip Phil, he's not going to be here tomorrow. Or the day after that, or the day after that. But then that's counterintuitive, because isn't this the same idiot that tells us, you guys can keep trolling me, you guys can keep doing this, that, and third, and I'm not going anywhere. I've been here for 10 years and I'm not going anywhere. But then when it comes to, you guys need to support me, and you guys need to tip me and do this, that, and the third, if you guys don't do it, I'm not going to be here again. I'm not going to be here anymore. And I can't keep doing what I love. I have to go off and get a real job. It's really, really funny how that happens. It's really funny how that's a thing.
This job is just me sitting here streaming on a couch, or excuse me, a love seat, playing video games. People want to act like it's not valid, and that I should be ashamed of myself that I raise funds via streaming. It's ridiculous.
It's not about you raising funds via streaming. You raise your funds via begging. That's what you should be ashamed of. If you actually streamed, and if it was actually entertaining, and if it was actually informative, and if you didn't sit there and shit on everybody else who was more successful than you, or who you feel that have slighted you in some way, shape, or form, and spent your time on playing the games and being entertaining to the people that are there, that's one thing. But you don't do that. You are on the farthest spectrum of that. You beg and plead. You talk about these detractors and how they hate you so much. You talk about everything that you used to have and how it was never your fault and you did nothing wrong. You did everything correct. And people clown you.
Yeah, speaking the job.
Oh my god, here we go, moron. I have a job, it's much better than yours.
That's fucking, it's preposterous. It's stupid. There's no logic behind that reasoning. It's basically jealousy. It's, well, I'm doing it, you're not. So, because I'm able to make a living doing it, I should, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's not an honest living. Actually, it is. And if you don't think it is, you're a complete fucking moron. Because you're just stupid and ignorant. And you have no right to criticize anyone who does it.
But you criticize people who do it. You criticize, if he wants to, let's go ahead and play his narrative. What he does is so special that not everybody else can do it, so it's jealousy. So when he shitted on Markiplier, Ninja, Tobuscus, what's that guy's name? Something Turner, iJustine, Ninja, Dr. Disrespect. He's taking some shots at, he's taking a shot or two at Angry Joe. When you shitting on all these people who have much larger sub counts than you, who have made probably more money in a shorter amount of time than you, who have dedicated fan bases to them, and so on and so forth. When you shitting on all of them, was that no different than what allegedly people like me do to you? Just out of curiosity? Is that not the exact same thing? So that makes you a hypocrite, doesn't it? Except for the fact that you need to do this for a living. And this is your job. This is just a hobby for me. And you're meek. You're a plaything for me. You're amusement for myself and my friends. Nothing more. And yet, you have to spend your day dealing with that. You have to spend your day knowing that people toy with you because it's funny. And I'm not even really toying with you. I'm just giving an opinion on your dumb shit. I'm literally just giving an opinion on your dumb shit. Like anybody else. And that hurts you so bad. But then we have this mysterious group, right, of people behind the scenes who do 95% of all this terrible shit because of people like myself, right? You know, because we're the ones that egg them on, yeah? That do 95% of all this heinous, horrible stuff to you behind the scenes. And I'm evil for that. I'm in the wrong for that. I'm jealous of you and your life and all your failures and everything that came with it, which kind of sums up your career as a whole, to be honest. It started off bad. It only makes sense that it ended bad. I didn't need to be around since the beginning to know that. Your FGC days kind of proved that to me. Before I even knew about the silly shit you were doing on this platform. Let alone the perpetual failure that you're basically propagating on Twitch. So where's the jealousy really at there? Someone please straighten that out for me. Let me know where the real failure comes into play here. Don't worry, Phil, I'll wait. And don't send Sidella, okay? I ended up seeing him last weekend and shit. He had an attitude. I don't know. I guess someone kicked him out of his wheelchair and some shit at summer camp. I don't know, okay? It is what it is. I may have accidentally, like, dropped the champagne bottle and whatnot. It didn't break. It landed on his little wheelchair and shit, and he fell over, and I just forgot to pick him up. Let his father do that. I got better things to do. But still.
Tough shit that you can't do it, because that's probably the reason that you make fun of it regardless, because you can't do it. You know, you're not good enough to fucking try to make a living doing it, you know?
Oh, I gotta take a sip.
I've been around the block. The reason I'm able to do this for a living is because I work...
So you're a whore? I'm just saying, you've been around the block. It sounds like something that a whore does. Or a whore. Or a slut. Are you a woman of the night? Are you a soiled dove, Phil? Is that what that is? Everything you ever... You've been around the block. I'm being a dick about this. Just run with me. Everything you've tried, you failed at. And this is supposed to be the most successful yet toughest job you've ever had? Well, why did you fail at all of your other jobs, Phil? What ran you out of all of your other jobs? So much so, in fact, that you felt the need to have almost a blood war with them even after those businesses fell apart. What about all this jealousy and this whole thing about not being good enough? Well, isn't that one of the reasons why they kicked your ass off of Machinima? Isn't that one of the same reasons why your ass got expelled off of Blip? Isn't that the same reason why Cursing let you go? Oh boy, Phil, I don't mean to be an asshole, but besides the fact that you did your little Nazi rendition over there on Blip, you weren't even following the rules from the beginning. What you were doing was already against their TOS, which was probably enough reason to kick you off anyway. One would believe that they were going to kick you off for that anyway. First thing, Machinima, I mean, let's be honest, you were in a decline, hence the reason why these people were cutting your payback over and over and over again, and you let them do it because on one of those instances, they offered you free games, gave you like 5 of them, and you never got anything else. Sounds to me like someone that they can take advantage of. Sounds to me like if you're going to be taken advantage of, you're not good enough. They don't look at you as their equal. They don't even look at you as someone to be respected. And then let's go ahead and go to the coup de grace to that, shall we? So we got Curse. Curse that was supposedly being attacked by all these trolls and haters and so on and so forth, yeah? And they had a department that kind of deals with this, but they had to designate Phil Burnell, DSP, Darkside Phil, one person, to take care of all of their mess, all of his mess. And that person was working around the clock saying, this was false, this was false, this was false, this was false. And off the basis of that, they had to come to Phil and say, hey Phil, we have this one person that has to go through all these false flags, hundreds of false flags apparently, that are presented to him day after day after day. We can't afford to pay that person that. And you're not bringing in enough money to cover what it costs to have this person right here to refute all the negative claims on you. We're going to have to let you go. I don't know, Phil. It might be just me. Could be just a defiant sniff. Could it be the definite sniff of bacon, but it sounds to me like you weren't good enough. It sounds to me that you weren't good enough on all 3 of those situations. Sounds to me that's the reason why they dropped you. I can only guess what happened with your other jobs, you know, in real life, that, you know, you eventually got fired from and or you were eventually let go of at one time or another. It makes one wonder.
My fucking ass off. You know, I started back in the day when no one was doing the kind of stuff that I do. Now a ridiculous amount of people do the kind of stuff that I do. Because I was one of the pioneers who made it popular on YouTube. And I stayed the course. I stuck it out year after year. There were a million reasons why things got screwed up and I could have quit, but I stayed with it. And, you know, I'm still here to this very day. I'm happy that I toughed it out. You know, and I have a legacy behind me of positivity and awesome content that you can watch at any moment on the internet. Despite the fact that there's so many assholes over the years who've tried to bring me down, I'm still here. And quite frankly, I've outlived a ton of people who've tried to say that I was a shitty guy or I wasn't doing anything valid. You know what I mean? So,
well, you are a shitty guy and there's no real value to what you do. But, you feel that just because you outlasted all of them, that validates you. Despite the fact that with each person that he allegedly, ladies and gentlemen, outlives, he continues to fall lower and lower and lower on the rung of his professional life, his personal life, and sadly, ladies and gentlemen, life in general. It kind of makes one think, is it really worth it to say that I outlasted all these people when the majority of those people, I would have to say, have moved on to bigger and better things?
Being quite frank with all of you, I don't feel any kind of negative feeling about relying on the generosity of others, because there's a ridiculous amount of people who do it via various methods of employment, and it's basically being...
So you justify your begging because you believe other people do it too. So because the bum on the street begs for money, Phil Burnell feels that he's justified to do it too. Interesting. I wonder what Bad Bunny has to say about that.
And it's a lot of work, but at the same time, it's honest work. It's tough. It's very, very risky. But at the same time, it's fun as hell to do what I do for a living. And you know what I mean? I wouldn't give it up for the world. I love it. Okay? So, no, I don't feel bad at all. And the bottom line is no one should. No one should even accept invalid criticism about it, because it's a bunch of fucking horseshit from jealous assholes.
What an anomaly I fucking am. How many people have disappeared from YouTube or Twitch over the years that have been doing it as long as I have, and I've been able to keep doing it.
You do realize that some of those people who disappeared from YouTube or Twitch parlayed what they did into something else, right? Something that probably gave them more time with their friends and family, that made them more money. They were able to build a brand and then expand off of it, instead of just trying to eat off whatever they can get from it. Right? Right? Come on, Phil, you watch enough Tevin, you should already know most of this.
Indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you. No decent.
Okay, I've heard enough of his begging for today. Oh my god, I've heard enough of that begging for today. I tried very, very hard to try to be civil about that shit, but god damn. Oh my god, that's ugly. Oh, that was ugly. I'm not sure how. I might have to take this might have to be another. I might have to do another take on this, because I'm not feeling how that worked out. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, fuck it. This might go up. All right. All right. So, how do we feel about the forced wedding type situation? It just comes across like pure bullshit. I'm sorry. I can't even try to rationalize that any way that I've already tried to rationalize that in a way that I haven't already tried to. It just seems really petty. Eventually we'll get the truth, so that is what it is. Debunking the disease schedule, he automatically had a negative connotation that when he was going to walk on that show, that they were going to ambush him, embarrass him, and so on and so forth. That's his real reason for not going. begging for money as an honest job, or e-begging for money as an honest job. It's an absolute joke, and it's kind of infuriating. One of the big things I took away from this, though, is his resentment for that helicopter job, which we already knew this. But the whole thing about you're making $60,000 a year doing that, you were put in a position similar. I don't even think it was really his father's position, but in a position similar to your father. But you felt that you should make what your father makes. It's almost as if he felt like he was equal to, if not a better man than his father, which obviously seems to be nothing further from the truth on that. I think we got an individual who he talks about people being jealous, people being envious of him, so on and so forth. There was an underlining of salt there when he was talking about his father, when he was trying to, it was almost like he was trying to pull away from his father or present the image that, oh yeah, my father told me about the job, but he wasn't the reason why I got hired. He wasn't the reason why I ended up achieving this and I got awards for this. They were impressed with me. They were impressed with me, not him. It had nothing to do with him. That's kind of petty, to be honest with you. I mean, if you didn't want to be in your father's shadow, why did you go and work at your father's company? Sorry. I mean, if you know, I don't want to sound like a complete and total asshole about it, but if you didn't want to be, the son of Dave Burnell, so to speak, why did you even bother taking up a job at your father's company? Because you knew Daddy was going to take care of you, which he did. Apparently, he took pretty good care of you. Now the question is, ladies and gentlemen, is what's the real reason now that he ended up getting fired? I feel like we're going to find out sooner than later. Should be a good listen, either which way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. This got a bit salty, certainly quite, well, not really salty, really spicy though. Very spicy at times. I am unapologetic to what I do. It's hard-hitting reporting, ladies and gentlemen. And then I got the stress of a coffee shop too. But I actually like it though. I actually really enjoy it. So I kind of like where we're at now. But that is what that is, they say. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. I've been your host, /anchor, and /owner. /owner of the SnortBucks coffee shop, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves. Save your receipt, just in case you guys have a complaint or a criticism or something along those lines. It's a thing in the broadcast. Oh boy. Well, at least we finished strong.